Hello, North Central Washington, and welcome to Networked. I'm your host, Jenny Rojanasatian, Executive Director of the NCW Tech Alliance. We are a nonprofit organization that has spent 2 decades supporting innovation and growth in our region. We offer over 40 programs and events every year, providing great resources for the community. NCW Tech Alliance is always inspired by the dynamic nonprofit organizations across our region who are making an impact. And today, I'll be interviewing Dorry Foster, CEO of the Wenatchee Valley YMCA, with over 20 years experience within the organization. For those of you who may not be familiar with the YMCA, also known as the Y, I thought I'd lay a little foundation for you. They are a nonprofit organization that works to make our community stronger, healthier, and more connected. From aquatics and arts and humanities to before and after school programs, the Y offers a wide variety of programs and services to empower young people, improve the health and well-being of all ages, and inspire action in and across the community. At the Y, they share that they believe lasting personal and social change can only come when we work together to invest in our kids, our health, our neighbors, and therefore they focus in on 3 specific areas: youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. I was also happy to learn that the Y promotes a culture free from bias and injustice. They share on their website that they're really dedicated to removing institutional and systemic barriers that were created by and perpetuated for oppression and racism, and that they will be accountable to marginalized communities for creating equitable and sustainable environments where social justice is woven into their programs. I'll be on air in just a minute with Dorry Foster from the Y to share more. And welcome to Networked. I'm here with our guest for the show today, Dorry Foster, CEO of the YMCA. Welcome.
Thank you, Jenny. I so appreciate you having me.
Well, I can't believe I've not had you on air. We talked offline about that. We have known each other really since you moved to the community.
Yeah, 6 years ago.
Which time is flying by. You are an executive director I have long admired. You run an incredible organization, have a depth of experience, but there's a lot of people who may not have met you before. So let's maybe dive in there. Tell us, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, so we moved here 6 years ago. Before that, we were in upstate New York, and before that, Pennsylvania and New Hampshire and Philadelphia and Western Pennsylvania, and kind of all over. So my husband is a retired football coach, and I got my start in the Y 24 years ago. We have 3 kids, adult kids, 6 grandkids, and several dogs. So, yeah.
And what prompted the move out to Washington State? I mean, you're kind of East Coast.
I know. When I was in upstate New York, I was the district executive director at the Capital District Y, and I was, out of the 11 branches, I ran 11. And
that's
challenging.
A lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
And I missed the small YMCA feel. And it was a race. My husband was either going to get another job because he was at UAlbany, or I was, and this came up. It was CEOs have a search at the YMCA, so we have somebody connected with us to find us the right position that's going really to use our strengths individually to whatever the organizational needs are, and it was just a perfect fit.
Well, lucky for us to get someone.
Lucky
for our community that we had someone with such great experience within the Y to come out locally.
Yeah.
Now, I shared a little bit about what the Y does in my intro, but I'd love, from your perspective and lens, tell us about your nonprofit.
Yeah. I love the Y. I thought about jumping to another organization and just couldn't do it. So the Y, our cause is we strengthen communities and families. We do that through our programs that are focused on healthy living, which is just a small part of what we do, youth development, a big part of what we do, and social responsibility. So I'll talk a little bit about youth development, but the social responsibility part is making sure everybody feels welcome, but equalizing the access. So we make sure, I have the privilege of raising funds on an annual basis to make sure that no child is ever denied access because of financial issues. So that is extremely rewarding, and I can make you cry with some of the stories that I know firsthand, but we won't do that today.
Right.
But our youth programs, how we facilitate all that is through our youth programs, and most people know us through gym and swim, right?
Right. I think of some.
Yep.
My perception of the Y previously was it's a workout club.
Right. No, that's only like this much of it. Yeah, the youth side of what we do. Everybody knows, I think, Lake Wenatchee YMCA camp, right? Everybody, seasonal camp, but we also serve school districts throughout the school year at those camps for outdoor science, learning, STEM stuff. But most importantly, in the last 6 years, we are now the largest licensed child care provider in the Valley. We have 7 locations, not our current location at the Y, 7 locations in 3 school districts, serving 407 kids on a daily basis.
Wow.
Right?
I had no idea.
Most people don't, unless you use the service, and then they think we're just at that site. But we're in 3 locations in Eastmont, 3 locations in Wenatchee, and 1 up in Cascade School District, so Alpine Lakes.
And from my limited knowledge in this space, childcare is a huge issue.
Huge.
Not just locally, but nationwide, having licensed caregivers.
Yeah, no, it's a very big deal to our current and local employers as well, because it's hard to attract and retain staff of young families, right? So now I know for a fact that we can serve more and do more if we had more staff. So we're working on trying to figure out what the feeder program is for that, for staff to have a career with us through childcare. So really exciting stuff moving along the way, but I think the other biggest thing we do that most people don't know, unless they're part of it, is our partnerships. So we are the home to Children's Home Society's Triple Point. That's a LGBTQ plus support group for kiddos. And we are the home for a Better Balance class, all in partnership. We're a home to a cancer survivorship program through Confluence Health and WSU. And we facilitate and provide all the services for a mentoring program, probably the only one-on-one mentoring program we have in the Valley. And that's for kiddos 8 years to 17 years of age that just need that extra supportive adult.
That is a wide range of services.
Right?
You guys are busy. I mean, just the child care piece alone, let alone a facility. And your facility is with the work, kind of those programs. Is that a 7-day-a-week operation or
6 days a week
6
right
days
now?
a week.
We never went back to Sundays after COVID just because of staffing. We're still short on staff.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about staffing. What are the types of roles that you have within the organization to be doing all this robust programming?
Yeah. So I love the Y because it's probably one of the few organizations left that you don't necessarily need a degree in. You just need some passion, and then we exploit it. So anywhere from frontline stuff, welcoming people into the facility, childcare staff, watching little ones, the big ones. I want to say 70% of our staff are part-time, group exercise instructor as an example, a child watch lead. But our childcare staff and all the other staff, they wind up being about, I think we have 45 full-time equivalents and over 100 staff. So it's substantial.
It takes a big team to lift all of that work.
And you have all of it from non-professional, first times. That youth development side of what we do is, some of it is still youth development for the first-time employees, right? First-time jobs, many of them are at the Y. So we're kind of leading them in, like acceptable, unacceptable, expectations, all that stuff. And then all the way into the professional side. So on a leadership level, you do need education, but we also provide a lot of training.
Yeah, you can grow within the organization.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're a testament too that there's opportunities outside of just here within the Y structure.
Yes.
You talked a little bit about Lake Wenatchee and your multiple locations for childcare. What is your service area? Because when you think of the Y and a physical brick building in downtown Wenatchee, but you're much broader than that.
Yeah, we actually have a large percentage of our kids that come to resident camp are from the Snohomish area. Okay. And so there's gaps in resident camp on the west side. So those kiddos come to us, or their family has a connection here, so they send the kid for the week. But really, it's everything from the west side, I think Snohomish maybe, and then all the way to somewhere between here and Yakima is our service area. So we have kids in our program, not on a daily basis, but seasonal basis from Quincy, Grant County, Douglas County, all over. And most of our local, everyday membership and programs are, I think it's about 60% Wenatchee and about 40% Douglas County.
Okay, so yeah, it's a big service area, and you're impacting youth, like you said, really across multiple counties.
It is, that's exciting.
That's powerful. Let's talk about membership for a minute. So, how does someone get involved with the Y? Like if they say, oh, I want to take a class, or I want to get involved in some of the healthy programs, what does that look like?
All you have to do is walk in.
Okay.
Right? We have amazing frontline staff that are excited that people are walking in, and they'll basically take you for a tour, find out what's most exciting to you, what you're thinking about doing, and try to lead you to what we have, see if it fits the gap. And then we really like it. Let's just say it is fitness. Yeah. Fitness centers are very intimidating to most people, even exercise buffs, right? Because where's that equipment? How are they doing that? That's different than what I'm used to. So being intimidated is not uncommon. So our role is to get you comfortable. And if you were to come in and you said, yep, I want an orientation to the Y, we said, well, when were you going to come work out anyway? So in your orientation, sometimes even do your tour, if that was when you were going to come in, we would introduce you to people to figure, to get you connected before you even start. We have tons of group exercise classes, water exercise classes, swim lessons for your kiddos. Even the building's 113 years old, and I know we're going to talk about that later, but it's challenging. Not everybody can get into the Y. It's not accessible, right? So if you can get in the door, we can get you feel welcomed.
Well, that's a great segue into a quick commercial, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the future of the Y and what that vision looks like. Don't go too far. We'll be right back after this brief commercial break. And welcome back to part 2 of our networked TV show today. We've been on air with Dorry Foster, CEO of the Y. I learned so much in that first half about the incredible work that you're doing, so much larger than what I had even expected to discover. So really exciting. You also have a really big future ahead. So you kind of set us up a little bit about your building being over 100 years old.
113.
113 years. Okay. So what does the future of the Y look like?
Yeah, which was one of the questions that I was asked when I got here, right? So we've been working the last 6 years really hard, and let me just say, without the board and trustees, I don't think we would have had the vision without them. And so they did their due diligence. The world shut down in 2020. And our board was working so hard to make sure that we could create a vision for when the world reopened that we'd be able to march ahead with. So first of all, the due diligence they did, we got outside companies to come in, do some data mining for us, figure out exactly all those questions to make those decisions on, right? Because it can't just be what Dorry thinks or what Fred thinks or whatever. So we got all that information, tested it into the community, and it came back. We tested several opportunities to stay where we are. We really can't renovate, is what we heard from this third party. We can no longer be a significant present and be relevant to this community any longer in that facility and expect to have better outcomes than we currently have. And that's not what we're here for. Right. Leveling it was an option. Looking at other locations like the PUD was an option. We tested all of that, and it came back very clear that we are underserving the community by about 44%. And the PUD would be a great relocation because we've been good stewards of our facility. it just can't serve as a YMCA any longer. So what else could it be? And so we did a little digging on that as well. But when we tested the PUD site, it was through the roof, right? They just could imagine us being down there. And then the early stages of the PUD, trying to understand what could be a possibility. We were on 4 of the 5 vision tables when the community came together on that too. So we marching ahead on the PUD site. We were told, here are the things that would make your Y very successful to make some impact in the community.
And for those of you who don't know, a little foundation, Chelan County PUD is moving out of the downtown core out into Old Station, opening up a huge piece of multiple
7.5 acres
with multiple buildings, and so there's a big visioning work behind how that could be used.
Right.
Please continue.
Yes. Yeah, so we tested, you know, of course everything's at a price, right? So you're going into a capital campaign possibility, and everybody gets really nervous, and, you know, we have all these community benchmarks, and it's a $22 million campaign. We tested $15 million out of the private sector. Private is you, me, foundations, because typically they're privately run. And after 30 interviews, it said, the consultant said, you better get busy. This is going to be successful. So we launched our very quiet stage of the capital campaign. Met first with our major donors, major community leaders, got great support. Actually, our first donation was before we decided what we were doing. We didn't even know what we were doing. We didn't even have all the data, and it was $1 million from an anonymous donor.
Wow. Such a testament to the faith they have in the why. And how important you are in the community.
Definitely kicked us into overdrive for sure. We are now at $8 million.
Wow.
We have, as of Tuesday, the commissioners, the PUD commissioners have approved moving forward with sales negotiation to the YMCA for a portion of the 7.5 acres.
Congratulations.
Which is huge. That's 113 years, and that will be a pin in the change, right? So it was a big day for us because they could have easily postponed. But we have a very tight timeline for success for state and now federal funding, which would alleviate some of the private funding that we would need and or allow us to do more than what our budget would allow. Right? So, so by doing that, we can move forward with negotiations. March 7th, we meet again with the staff to figure out what the terms of the property could be. You know, there's demolition to be done and, you know, site work to be done. So we don't know what that looks like, but we're confident that we can negotiate all of that and then some for our future. So pretty exciting.
That's huge. Congratulations.
Thank you.
First, you've worked so hard over the years to get to these really big milestones and to set the foundation. Tell me a little bit, 10 years from now, what does this space look like, and how is it, you know, how's it serving the community?
So imagine walking through this beautifully open space with the ground floor will be multiple meeting rooms. We're also having conversations with our Valley Our Future for a multicultural resource center, possibly hosted at the YMCA. So that would be cool.
Because you already have a kind of a history of supporting other organizations within that you talked about in the first part of this.
Of course, and you know, we run the gamut of cultures in our current YMCA, so we want to be a place to welcome all. And also on the first floor would also be a beautiful aquatic center. And so we're kind of envisioning 2 pools, one being colder for adult lap swimming, older kids learning how to swim, perhaps group exercise classes in that pool, and then a warmer pool, family friendly, 0 entry, great for young ones to learn how to swim in, and aquatherapy. And then all of that, you go upstairs to all the fitness center stuff. So it's a fitness center, group exercise studio, and access to an elevated walking track that looks down on multiple gymnasiums. Multiple purpose gymnasiums, and possibly looking down into the aquatic center as well.
Wow.
I know.
It sounds exciting. Yes, it sounds exciting. And the aquatics piece is really important because that's we really lack resources there
We do.
across the board in the region, from my understanding, as far as pools
Yes.
and for high school sports,
Yes.
for development, for special needs.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you for mentioning the special needs. We are excited about to start the design concept theme of, we just need the property specs. And one thing that I told we have a team developed already. So we're doing progressive design build. We've hired Absher Construction and ALSC Architects. So they are the same architects that are doing the convention center for the city.
Okay.
And one of the things I pinged to them early on was we need to focus on inclusive design. So everyone needs to feel successful and a sense of belonging when they're at this new YMCA, that nothing is out of bounds for them. So I'm excited for that and learning more about that as we go through.
Because obviously something you've not been able to probably pull into the
Oh my heavens,
113-year-old building.
No.
Yes.
No. So, and something as simple as, ADA compliance is bare minimum. So what are the extra things? And it's providing, let's say, a PVC wheelchair, right? Because who wants to take a $4,000 wheelchair into an aquatic environment, right? So it's things like that where we're still learning from and we'll continue to learn from the community. So once we have the concept themes later this spring, we'll be kind of doing town halls, first with our members inside the Y, and then outside of the Y to get community feedback. What do you think? What do you see? And learn from everybody else's lens that they bring to the table to really nail this down. This is a generational decision that we've made, and we've got to do the best job we can to serve this community.
And the fact that you said earlier that you, right now with all that you're doing, there's still 44% that you're not serving. I can only imagine how many people are going to walk through those doors.
I know.
So as we conclude today, what's your message to the community? How can they get involved with this, with this new future for the Y?
Yeah, so you can volunteer. Our campaign committee is championed by by Rufus Woods. Everybody knows Rufus.
What a great advocate.
Oh my heavens, we have so much fun together.
Yes.
Steve Robinson, as you may know from Pybus, retired from Pybus. He champions everything capital. So it's a campaign committee. It's the project management side. It's basically everything. That it's like having another executive, only not paid. So that's even better. But so we need help there. We need. We're fully locked and loaded on the project management side, but certainly need those experts brought in at particular times to help with that. And of course, we need help with, going out and getting the word out. So super simple. We're just inviting people to the table. So if you want to donate, right now you can't donate online. But eventually, when we go more public, you will be able to. The pledge period's 3 to 5 years now, so you can extend the impact that you have by doing it over the course of that. I have to shout out to the board and trustees. They have pledged over $600,000 to this campaign.
Wow.
We're at $8 million to date.
Wow. So they're really putting their money where their mouth is.
They are.
Directly in the investment. Well, congratulations on this chapter. I want to encourage everyone watching at home to get involved and to reach out.
Just reach out to me.
Reach out to Dorry and the team. Thank you all for tuning in. Join us back here next week at the NCW Life Studio.